Hello, everyone. We're thrilled to have you here. If you enjoy our content, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's dive into today's amazing story. In the hushed silence of the early morning, before the world awoke to its usual cacophony, a new sound emerged. A low hum, almost imperceptible, weaving through the still air. It was the sound of data centers, those silent fortresses of information, being brought to their knees. Like a thread pulled from an intricate tapestry, the hum unraveled the complex web of technology that cradled our civilization. The year was 2025, and the world as we knew it was about to be rewritten in a language none of us understood. I stood in the heart of the city, where the skyline was a jagged silhouette against the pre-dawn sky. As a DHS officer, I had witnessed unrest and uncertainty, but this was different. There was an eerie calm before the storm, a quiet before the chaos. The streetlights flickered and died, casting long shadows that danced eerily along the pavement. I could feel the tension in the air, like the charge before a lightning strike. The first signs were subtle. Traffic lights blinked out, leaving intersections tangled in confusion. Electronic billboards froze, their vibrant ads replaced with static. People emerged from their homes, clutching phones that no longer connected them to the world, their faces etched with bewilderment. It was as if the city took a collective breath, pausing in its relentless march forward. I watched as panic began to ripple through the streets, a tide of uncertainty washing over the crowds. We were so used to the rhythm of technology, the constant hum of connectivity, that its absence left us adrift. It was a disquieting symphony, this silence, one that whispered of vulnerability and fear. In the command center, screens blinked with error messages, their usual glow now a mocking reminder of our reliance on these digital lifelines. Maps that once guided us were reduced to empty grids, and communications were reduced to a trickle, like a river diverted from its course. I could feel the weight of the moment, the realization that the world had shifted beneath our feet, and we were left grasping for understanding. As the hours passed, the truth began to crystallize. This was no mere technological glitch, no random act of chaos. It was a deliberate assault, a calculated move by an unseen enemy. The whispers of an alien invasion had been relegated to the realm of conspiracy theories, dismissed as the fevered imaginations of the paranoid. But now, those whispers were growing louder, a chorus of dread that echoed in the halls of power. I knew then that the government had been aware, had anticipated this possibility and yet chose inaction. There was a bitter taste to this revelation, a betrayal that cut deeper than any physical wound. We had been left vulnerable, our defenses stripped away by our own complacency. And now, we faced an enemy that knew our weaknesses better than we knew ourselves. In the days that followed, the world descended into chaos. Without the technology that underpinned our society, we were thrust back into an age of uncertainty. Supplies ran scarce, and the infrastructure that supported our daily lives crumbled. People turned against each other, driven by fear and desperation, while the true enemy remained unseen, lurking in the shadows. Amidst the turmoil, I found myself drawn to the stories of those who refused to succumb to despair. There were whispers of a resistance, a group of individuals who had seen the signs and prepared for this eventuality. They were the dreamers and the thinkers, the ones who believed in the resilience of the human spirit. It was said they had a plan, a way to fight back against the encroaching darkness. I knew I had to find them, to lend my skills to their cause. It was a journey fraught with danger, navigating a world where the familiar had become treacherous. Each step was a gamble, each decision a test of courage and resolve. But beneath the fear, there was a flicker of hope, a belief that we could rise above this, that we could reclaim our world. The path was not easy. There were those who sought to exploit the chaos, preying on the vulnerable and sowing discord. But there were also moments of unexpected kindness, gestures of solidarity that reminded me of the strength of community. It was a delicate balance, walking the line between trust and caution, between hope and despair. As I drew closer to the heart of the resistance, the landscape around me began to change. The city, once a testament to human achievement, was now a monument to our hubris. Skyscrapers stood as silent sentinels, their glass facades reflecting a world turned upside down. Nature began to reclaim its territory, with vines creeping over concrete and birds nesting in the hollow shells of buildings. In this new world, the old rules no longer applied. We were forced to adapt, to find new ways of living and communicating. The resistance had taken to using old technology, radios and Morse code, to coordinate their efforts. It was a reminder of our ingenuity, our ability to innovate even in the face of adversity. When I finally reached the resistance, I was greeted by a group of individuals who defied expectations. They were not soldiers or politicians, but artists, scientists, and dreamers. They spoke of unity, of a world where we could coexist with our differences, and it was a vision that resonated deeply within me. But even as I joined their ranks, I knew the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges. The alien invaders were a formidable foe, wielding technology beyond our comprehension. Yet, there was a sense of purpose that drove us, a belief that we could find a way to reclaim our future. The days turned into weeks, and the resistance grew stronger, drawing strength from their shared determination. We learned to navigate this new world, to harness the power of our ingenuity and resilience. There were setbacks and losses, moments when hope seemed dim, but we pressed on, driven by the belief that we could overcome. As I stood on the precipice of this new world, I realized that the true battle was not against the alien invaders, but against our own fears and limitations. It was a battle for the soul of humanity, a test of our ability to adapt and endure. And in that realization, I found a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to fight for a future where we could thrive once more. In the quiet moments, when the world seemed to hold its breath, I would close my eyes and imagine a time when the skies would clear, and the hum of technology would return, not as a crutch, but as a tool to build a better world. It was a dream that fueled my resolve, a beacon of hope that guided me through the darkest of times. And so, the journey continued, a tapestry of challenges and triumphs, woven together by the threads of courage and resilience. The world had changed, but in its heart, the spirit of humanity remained unbroken, ready to rise from the ashes and embrace a new dawn. The days turned into weeks, and the landscape of our existence shifted beneath our feet like sand dunes under the relentless push of the desert wind. The initial shock of the invasion had worn off, leaving in its place a hardened resolve, a gritty determination to reclaim what had been lost. Our cities, once vibrant with the ceaseless chatter of technology, were now quiet, save for the murmured voices of those who survived and the occasional distant rumble of an alien craft passing overhead. In this new reality, our senses sharpened, attuned to the subtle changes in our environment. Without the constant distraction of screens and notifications, we learned to read the world in a different light. The rustle of leaves in the wind, the distant call of a lone bird, the way the shadows lengthened as the sun dipped below the horizon. All these became signals, signs of life and movement in a world that felt both familiar and alien. Despite the chaos, there was a beauty to be found in the simplicity of our new existence. The night sky, no longer obscured by the glow of city lights, revealed a sprawling tapestry of stars, each one a reminder of the vastness of the universe and our place within it. The silence that enveloped us was profound, a blanket of calm that allowed us to hear the whispers of our own thoughts, to reflect on what it meant to be human in a world transformed. My role as a DHS officer had evolved in these times. No longer was I just a guardian of our nation's security. I had become a bridge between the remnants of our past and the uncertain future ahead. It was a role that weighed heavily on my shoulders but also filled me with a sense of purpose. I was entrusted with the task of forging alliances, building networks of trust and cooperation among those who remained, and finding ways to resist not just the alien threat, but the despair that threatened to engulf us. One evening, as the last light of day faded into twilight, I found myself standing on the rooftop of a derelict building, looking out over what had once been a bustling city. The air was cool, carrying with it the scent of rain yet to fall. In the distance, I could see the flicker of campfires, small pockets of warmth and light in the encroaching darkness. Each fire represented a group of survivors, huddled together for comfort and security, sharing stories and dreams of what might come next. It was in moments like these that I felt the weight of my responsibility most acutely. The people looked to me for guidance, for assurance that there was still a path forward, even when the road ahead seemed fraught with peril. And so, I gathered my thoughts, drawing strength from the knowledge that we were not alone in this struggle. Across the globe, others were fighting their own battles, driven by the same hopes and fears that propelled us. The radio crackled to life, a voice cutting through the static. It was a message from one of the resistance groups we had been in contact with. They had intel on a potential weakness in the aliens' communication network, a chink in the armor that could turn the tide of the conflict in our favor. The information was sketchy at best, but it was a glimmer of hope in the shadow of uncertainty. With renewed determination, I set about organizing a team to investigate the lead. It was a risky endeavor, one that would take us deep into territory held firmly by the invaders. Yet, it was a risk we had to take. Every small victory, every piece of intelligence gathered, was a step closer to reclaiming our world. The journey was arduous, fraught with challenges that tested our resolve at every turn. We moved under the cover of darkness, navigating through the ruins of our once great civilization, guided by the stars and the whispered directions of those who had trod the path before us. Each day brought new trials, but also new allies, those who had chosen to stand and fight, to lend their skills and knowledge to our cause. We arrived at our destination, a sprawling complex that had once been a hub of human innovation and ingenuity. Now, it lay in ruins, a testament to the destructive power of our adversaries. But within those crumbling walls lay the key to turning the tide, the possibility of disrupting the aliens' hold over our world. As we infiltrated the facility, my heart pounded in my chest, each step echoing the rhythm of an unyielding resolve. The air was thick with tension, the silence punctuated by the distant hum of alien technology. We moved with caution, aware that discovery would mean not just failure, but the potential end of our resistance. In the heart of the complex, we found what we were looking for, a control room, its walls lined with screens and consoles, the remnants of a once thriving network. The equipment was alien in design, a blend of technology that was both familiar and foreign. It was here that the invaders had established their foothold, using our own infrastructure against us. With deft hands, our tech specialists began to work, deciphering the alien systems, searching for the vulnerabilities that had been hinted at in the intel we received. It was a delicate operation, one that required both skill and patience. As we waited, the air around us seemed to vibrate with anticipation, each passing moment a reminder of the stakes involved. And then, a breakthrough. A ripple of excitement passed through our group as the first signs of success emerged. The alien network flickered, a subtle disruption that signaled the beginning of a cascade, a flaw in the system that could be exploited. It was the opening we had hoped for, a chance to strike back and reclaim a measure of control. But as with all victories, it came with a cost. The disruption triggered an alarm, the sound echoing through the corridors, a clarion call that alerted the invaders to our presence. We had achieved what we came for, but now we faced the daunting task of escaping, of carrying the knowledge we had gained back to our people. With the facility now on high alert, we navigated the labyrinthine passages, our movements swift and purposeful. The path was fraught with danger, the threat of discovery looming over us like a shadow. Yet, through it all, we remained undaunted, driven by the knowledge that our actions could change the course of the conflict. As we emerged into the night, leaving the complex behind, the stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging our efforts. We had taken a step towards liberation, a step towards a future where humanity could once again thrive. And in that moment, I understood that our journey was far from over, but the road ahead was one we would walk together, undaunted, unbroken, and filled with the unyielding spirit of hope. The night air wrapped around us like a cool embrace, the chill biting yet invigorating as we moved away from the looming silhouette of the alien complex. The sky was a tapestry of stars, each one a beacon of hope against the vastness of the universe that had suddenly become so much smaller and more threatening. The moon, a pale sentinel, watched over us as we navigated the rugged terrain, its silvery light casting long shadows that danced with our every step. Our hearts pounded with adrenaline, a rhythm that matched the rapid beat of our footsteps. The facility, now a distant memory, lay behind us, its alarms still echoing faintly in the night. We were driven by the urgency of our mission, the knowledge we had acquired a precious cargo that needed to reach our people. Our minds raced with possibilities, strategies forming and dissolving like sandcastles against the relentless tide of the invasion. With every step, I could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on me, a tangible force that threatened to overwhelm if I allowed it to. Yet, there was a strange comfort in the solidarity of our group. We were a motley crew, thrown together by fate and necessity, but bound by a shared purpose that transcended fear and doubt. Each one of us carried a piece of the puzzle that was humanity's survival, and together, we would forge a path through the darkness. As we made our way through the dense forest that bordered the alien installation, the sounds of the night enveloped us. The rustle of leaves in the wind, the distant call of a night bird, and the soft crunch of earth beneath our feet formed a symphony of life that was both familiar and alien. The forest seemed alive, its ancient wisdom whispering secrets to those willing to listen. I felt a connection to the world around me, a reminder that we were part of something greater, a tapestry of life that stretched beyond the confines of our struggles. Our pace was relentless, driven by the urgency of our mission and the ever-present threat of pursuit. The aliens, with their advanced technology and otherworldly presence, were formidable adversaries, but we had an advantage they could never possess, our indomitable spirit. We were fighting not just for survival, but for the very essence of what it meant to be human. The knowledge we carried was our weapon, one that could turn the tide of the war and restore the balance of power. The night stretched on, time losing its meaning as we pressed forward, driven by sheer will and determination. The landscape changed subtly, the trees thinning out as we approached the outskirts of a small village nestled in a valley. Its presence was like a beacon in the night, a promise of refuge and safety, however fleeting. We moved with caution, aware that the village could harbor both friend and foe. As we entered the village, its quiet streets bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, I felt a sense of nostalgia wash over me. It was a place frozen in time, untouched by the chaos that had gripped our world. The houses stood silent, their windows darkened, yet I could sense the life within, the quiet resilience of those who had chosen to stay. It was a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity, a reminder that even in the face of insurmountable odds, we would persevere. We made our way to the heart of the village, where a small gathering of people had formed, drawn by the news of our arrival. Their faces were a mix of hope and apprehension, their eyes searching ours for reassurance. I felt the weight of their expectations, the silent plea for answers and guidance. It was a burden I bore willingly, knowing that our actions could provide the spark needed to ignite the flames of resistance. As I addressed the crowd, my voice steady despite the turmoil within, I spoke of our mission and the knowledge we had gained. I spoke of the alien threat and the need for unity, for a collective effort to reclaim our world. The words flowed from me, a stream of consciousness that captured the essence of our struggle and the promise of a brighter future. I could see the impact of my words, the flicker of hope igniting in their eyes, and I knew that we had planted the seeds of change. Our time in the village was brief, a momentary respite before the next leg of our journey. We gathered supplies and information, the villagers eager to aid us in any way they could. Their generosity and courage filled me with a renewed sense of purpose, a reminder that we were not alone in this fight. We were part of a greater whole, a collective force that would rise against the darkness. As we prepared to leave, the first light of dawn began to paint the horizon in hues of pink and gold, a promise of a new day. The village, now a memory etched in our hearts, faded into the distance as we resumed our journey. The road ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger and challenges, but it was one we would walk together, united in our resolve. The landscape unfolded before us, a mosaic of rolling hills and verdant fields, untouched by the ravages of war. It was a reminder of the beauty that still existed in our world, a testament to the resilience of nature and the promise of renewal. As we moved through this landscape, I felt a sense of peace settle over me, a moment of clarity amidst the chaos. Our path led us to a river, its waters flowing with a quiet strength that mirrored our own. We paused for a moment, the sound of the water a soothing balm to our weary souls. It was a moment of reflection, a chance to gather our thoughts and draw strength from the land that sustained us. The river was a symbol of continuity, a reminder that life would endure, even in the face of adversity. As we continued on, the sun climbed higher in the sky, its warmth a welcome companion on our journey. The day unfolded with a sense of purpose, each step bringing us closer to our destination, to the heart of the resistance. The knowledge we carried was a beacon, a light in the darkness that guided our way. And so, we pressed on, our spirits undaunted and our resolve unbroken. The road ahead was long and fraught with peril, but it was a path we would walk together, driven by the unyielding spirit of hope and the promise of a better tomorrow. In the face of the alien threat, we would stand united, a force to be reckoned with, a testament to the enduring strength of humanity. The landscape stretched out before us, a tapestry woven with hues of green and gold, dotted with the occasional burst of color from wildflowers that had defiantly sprung to life amid the chaos. The world, though scarred, had not lost its beauty. It was as if nature, in her infinite wisdom, sought to remind us of resilience and rebirth in the face of destruction. The path we tread, though fraught with uncertainty, was softened by the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze and the distant call of birds, a symphony of the earth undeterred by the ravages above. As we advanced, the terrain began to change subtly. The rolling hills gave way to a dense forest, its canopy a shield against the glaring sun. The air was cooler here, imbued with the scent of pine and damp earth. Each step was cushioned by a carpet of fallen leaves, the sound a soft whisper of the forest's secrets. We moved with caution, attuned to the sounds around us, aware that the forest, with its deceptive calm, could harbor dangers of its own. The forest was alive, a vibrant ecosystem that teemed with life. We caught glimpses of deer moving silently through the underbrush, their eyes wide with curiosity, and the occasional flutter of wings as a bird took flight. It was a reminder that, despite everything, the natural world continued its ceaseless dance, a testament to endurance and adaptability. As we navigated the winding paths, we spoke little, our thoughts turned inward, each of us wrestling with the enormity of the task ahead. The weight of responsibility sat heavy on our shoulders, yet it was balanced by a shared determination. The resistance needed us. The knowledge we bore was crucial to their cause. In the face of overwhelming odds, we were compelled to act, to fight for the future that seemed to slip further from our grasp with each passing day. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows through the trees, painting the forest in shades of amber and russet. It was a time of transition, the world shifting from day to night, the air growing cooler with each passing moment. We pressed on, driven by necessity and the dwindling light, knowing that we must reach the safety of the camp before darkness enveloped us completely. As we walked, a sense of unease began to settle over me, a prickling at the back of my neck that refused to be ignored. It was an instinct honed by years of service, a whisper of danger that could not be silenced. I signaled to my companions to halt, straining my ears to catch any sound beyond the forest's natural symphony. There was a stillness, a disquiet that set my nerves on edge. Then, from the depths of the forest, came a sound that sent a chill down my spine, a low, mechanical hum, growing steadily louder. It was a sound we had come to dread, a harbinger of the alien presence that had so ruthlessly dismantled our world. We exchanged a tense glance, our unspoken fears mirrored in each other's eyes. The aliens were near, their technology a stark contrast to the organic beauty that surrounded us. We moved quickly, silently, our footsteps a mere whisper on the forest floor. The need for stealth was paramount. Discovery would mean capture or worse. The hum grew louder, the source drawing ever closer, its path erratic and unpredictable. We ducked beneath a thicket, our breath held as the sound became a roar, a thunderous presence that vibrated through the very ground. Through the leaves, we caught sight of the machine, an alien drone, sleek and menacing, its surface gleaming in the fading light. It hovered above the trees, its scan relentless, searching for signs of life, for us. We remained still, our hearts pounding in unison, a shared rhythm of fear and defiance. The moments stretched, each second an eternity as we waited for the drone to pass, to move on in its relentless patrol. At last, the drone veered away, its hum receding into the distance, leaving behind a silence that was almost deafening in its intensity. We exhaled collectively, the tension easing, though our reprieve was tempered by the knowledge that this was only one of many challenges we would face. The alien presence was a constant shadow, a reminder that our world was no longer ours alone. With renewed urgency, we continued on, the forest eventually giving way to a clearing where the first lights of the resistance camp flickered like stars against the encroaching night. It was a sight that filled us with hope, a beacon of humanity's indomitable spirit. The camp was a hive of activity, a bustling microcosm of life and determination, its inhabitants bound by a common purpose, to reclaim what had been lost. As we entered the camp, the atmosphere was charged with energy, a palpable sense of resolve and camaraderie. We were greeted by familiar faces, their expressions a mix of relief and curiosity, eager to learn what news we brought from the outside world. The camp was a sanctuary, a place where dreams of a future free from alien oppression were nurtured and kept alive. In the warmth of the campfire's glow, we shared our tale, the knowledge we had gathered, the dangers we had faced. Our audience listened intently, their eyes reflecting the fire's dance, absorbing every word, every detail. The resistance was a tapestry of individuals, each playing a crucial role in the fight for survival, each contribution a vital thread in the fabric of hope. As the night deepened, we sat together, the fire crackling a comforting presence, the stars a silent witness to our gathering. We spoke of plans and strategies, of the road ahead and the challenges that awaited us. It was a time of unity, of shared dreams and ambitions, a reminder that we were not alone in this struggle. But beneath the surface, beneath the camaraderie and determination, there lingered an undercurrent of uncertainty, a recognition of the enormity of the task before us. The alien threat loomed large, its presence a specter that haunted our every move, its technology a formidable foe that seemed insurmountable. Yet, in the face of such adversity, we were undeterred. We were driven by the belief that humanity, with its boundless creativity and resilience, could rise to meet the challenge. The path was fraught with peril, but it was a path we would walk together, our resolve unbroken, our spirits undaunted. As the embers of the fire glowed softly, casting a gentle light on the faces of those gathered, I found myself filled with a deep and abiding sense of hope. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but it was a road that held the promise of a new dawn, a future reclaimed from the clutches of those who sought to destroy us. In that moment, amid the quiet strength of those around me, I knew that we would endure, that we would fight, and that, together, we would prevail. The journey was far from over, but it was a journey we would face with courage and determination, a journey that would lead us to the heart of the struggle, to the very core of our resistance, and ultimately, to the dawn of a new world. The landscape stretched before us, a tapestry woven with shadows and the whispering winds of change. Our encampment lay nestled in the embrace of a forest, where towering trees stood as silent sentinels, guarding our fragile gathering. The air was crisp, carrying with it the scent of earth and leaves, a reminder of the world that was still ours to cherish. Overhead, the night sky was a vast canvas, stars twinkling like distant beacons, urging us onward. In the aftermath of the alien onslaught, we had become like nomads, drifting between the remnants of what once was and the promise of what could be. We were a band of survivors, disparate souls bound by the shared experience of loss and a fierce determination to reclaim our world. Each face around the fire told a story, etched with lines of hardship and resilience. As the fire crackled, its warmth pushing back the chill of the night, I found myself drawn into the company of those around me. There was Maria, her eyes alight with a defiant spark, a testament to her unyielding spirit. She had been a teacher before the invasion, a nurturer of young minds, and now she stood as a pillar of strength for our group. Her laughter, though rare, was a balm, a reminder that joy could still be found amidst the ruins. Beside her sat Jamal, his hands deftly repairing a makeshift radio. Once a communications specialist, he now used his skills to bridge the chasm between us and the outside world. His quiet determination was infectious, a steadying force in a time of upheaval. And then there was Elise, whose gentle wisdom had guided us through the darkest days. Her knowledge of the land and its secrets had kept us fed and sheltered, her whispers of hope a constant thread woven through our days. As I watched them, I felt a surge of gratitude, a recognition of the strength that lay in our unity. We were not alone in this battle. We were a community, a tapestry of lives intertwined, each of us lending our strengths to the collective whole. In the face of adversity, we had become stronger, our resolve tempered by the fires of hardship. The night deepened, the stars wheeling slowly across the sky. I turned my gaze to the forest, its depths shrouded in shadow. There, beyond the circle of light, lay the unknown, the dangers that lurked in the darkness. Yet, we were not afraid. We had learned to navigate this new world, to adapt and survive. The forest had become our ally, its secrets a source of strength. As the fire's glow flickered, I felt a stirring within me, a call to action. We could not remain hidden forever. The time had come to strike back, to reclaim our world from those who sought to subjugate us. The path would be fraught with peril, but it was a path we could no longer avoid. I rose, drawing the attention of those around me. "The time has come," I said, my voice steady and firm. "We have been hiding for too long. We must take the fight to them. We must show them that we are not defeated, that we will not be cowed." A murmur of agreement rippled through the group, a chorus of voices rising in unison. Maria nodded, her eyes alight with determination. "We've been preparing for this," she said. "We have the skills, the knowledge. We can do this." Jamal set aside his radio, his expression resolute. "We have to disrupt their communications, their networks," he said. "If we can take down their systems, we can buy ourselves time, maybe even turn the tide." Elise leaned forward, her voice calm and measured. "We know the land," she said. "We can use it to our advantage. We can strike from the shadows, disappear before they even know we're there." Their words filled me with a renewed sense of purpose, a certainty that we were on the right path. The journey would be dangerous, the outcome uncertain, but our cause was just. We were fighting not just for ourselves, but for the future of our world, for the generations yet to come. As the fire burned low, casting long shadows across the ground, we began to plan, to lay the groundwork for our resistance. Each of us had a role to play, a piece of the puzzle that would come together to form a picture of defiance. We would strike at the heart of their operations, disrupt their control, and reclaim our world piece by piece. The hours slipped away, the night giving way to the first light of dawn. As the sun's rays broke over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold, I felt a sense of renewal, a promise of new beginnings. This was our world, and we would fight for it with every breath, every beat of our hearts. The journey ahead was long, the road uncertain, but we were ready. Together, we would face the challenges that lay ahead, drawing strength from the bonds we had forged in the crucible of adversity. We would rise from the ashes, our spirits unbroken, our resolve unshaken. As the first light of day washed over us, I turned my gaze to those around me, my heart swelling with pride and hope. We were a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of resistance in a world shrouded in darkness. And together, we would prevail, forging a new path, a new world, from the wreckage of the old. The dawn's gentle glow seemed to gild the edges of our determination, a celestial reminder that even in the darkest times, the sun would rise again. We gathered our meager provisions, the weight of the world settling upon our shoulders like an old, familiar cloak. Each of us carried the knowledge of what was at stake, the silent understanding that our actions could steer the course of history, for better or worse. The convoy of vehicles was a motley assortment of what remained functional after the alien incursion. They were battered and bruised, yet resilient, much like their occupants. I climbed into the lead vehicle, its seats worn but comfortable, the dashboard a mosaic of cracked plastic and hastily patched circuits. The engine rumbled to life, its growl a comforting sound in the stillness of the morning. As we rolled out, the countryside unfolded around us, a tapestry of rolling hills and dense forests, painted in shades of green and gold by the rising sun. The air was crisp, carrying with it the scent of dew and earth, a reminder of the world we were fighting to preserve. We moved in silence, each lost in our thoughts. The only sounds the rhythmic hum of tires on asphalt and the occasional birdsong. The road ahead was fraught with uncertainty. Alien patrols scoured the land, their advanced technology capable of detecting the smallest of disturbances. Yet our plan was simple, relying on the element of surprise and our intimate knowledge of the terrain. We would infiltrate their communication hubs, dismantling their network from within, leveraging the very technology they had used to suppress us. The first target loomed closer as we approached the outskirts of a once thriving town, now a ghostly shell of its former self. The buildings stood silent and empty, their windows shattered, their walls scarred by the ravages of conflict. It was a haunting reminder of the cost of this war, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. We parked on the edge of the town, the vehicles hidden beneath a canopy of trees. As we disembarked, I felt a familiar thrill of anticipation, the adrenaline coursing through my veins like a river swollen with rain. The team gathered around, checking equipment, murmuring last-minute instructions, a symphony of preparation. Our target was a communication tower that loomed over the town, its spindly frame reaching toward the sky like a skeletal hand. It was heavily guarded, a fortress of alien design, bristling with sensors and surveillance equipment. But we had an ace up our sleeve, a former engineer who had worked on the very systems the aliens had co-opted, his knowledge invaluable in our mission. We moved in, a shadowy procession slipping through the remnants of the town. The air was thick with tension, each footfall a whisper against the broken pavement. As we approached the perimeter of the tower, our engineer, a wiry man with a sharp mind and a steady hand, guided us through the maze of security protocols. Time seemed to slow as we breached the outer defenses, our movements coordinated and precise. The aliens, though technologically superior, had not anticipated our intimate understanding of their systems, the subtle weaknesses we could exploit. We slipped through the cracks, like water finding its way through stone, our presence undetected. Inside the tower, the hum of alien machinery filled the air, a symphony of alien technology that thrummed with unfamiliar energy. The walls glowed with a soft, otherworldly light, casting eerie shadows that danced in the corners of my vision. We moved with purpose, our objective clear: disable their communication array and disrupt the flow of information that was their lifeline. As we reached the control room, a sense of triumph surged within me. The engineer set to work, his fingers flying over the controls, a maestro orchestrating the downfall of an empire. The rest of us stood guard, our senses attuned to the slightest hint of danger. Minutes stretched into an eternity, each second a heartbeat in the rhythm of the universe. It happened in a moment, a sudden shift in the air, a crackle of static that signaled our success. The engineer stepped back, a satisfied smile playing on his lips, his eyes alight with the thrill of achievement. We had done it. Severed the aliens' grip, if only for a moment, a small victory in a war that raged across the globe. But our triumph was short-lived. An alarm pierced the silence, a shrill, insistent wail that echoed through the corridors. The aliens knew we were here. We exchanged a glance, a silent pact, and then we were moving, retreating through the labyrinthine passages, our path illuminated by the flickering glow of emergency lights. Outside, the world seemed to hold its breath, the morning still fresh with the promise of a new day. We sprinted toward the cover of the trees, the vehicles waiting like faithful steeds, ready to carry us to safety. Behind us, the tower stood dark and silent, a monument to our defiance, the first step in a journey that would take us to the very heart of the alien threat. As we regrouped, the gravity of what we had accomplished began to sink in. We had struck a blow against the invaders, a ripple in a sea of resistance that would spread, inspiring others to rise up and fight. Our spirits soared, buoyed by hope and the knowledge that we were not alone in this battle. The road stretched out before us, a winding path through a landscape scarred by war but alive with the promise of renewal. We would press on, our resolve unbroken, our hearts united in a common purpose. Together, we would forge a new world from the ashes of the old, a world where the light of freedom would shine once more. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its warm embrace over the land, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was our world, and we would reclaim it with every breath, every step forward. The journey was far from over, but we were ready, a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. And together, we would prevail, forging a new path into the future, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The sun's ascent painted the sky with strokes of gold and lavender, a masterpiece of dawn that promised another day of struggle and triumph. Each step we took resonated with determination, reverberating through the silence of a land that had once thrummed with the vibrant pulse of civilization. Now, only the whisper of the wind accompanied our march, a gentle reminder of the world that was and the world that could be. The remnants of the city's skyline loomed in the distance, skeletal structures reaching out like the fingers of forgotten giants. They stood as monuments to our past, silent witnesses to our resilience. As we approached, the air crackled with a tension that was both exhilarating and foreboding. We knew that within these ruins lay both danger and hope, entwined like the tangled vines that crept over the broken edifices. Our small band of survivors, a patchwork of humanity, moved with the grace of a well-rehearsed dance, each member attuned to the unspoken rhythm of survival. Among us were those who had once been teachers, artists, engineers. Each had found new purpose in the crucible of conflict. We were united by a singular vision, the reclamation of our world, a vision that burned brightly, illuminating even the darkest corners of our journey. As we entered the city, the shadows seemed to deepen, weaving around us like a cloak. The air was thick with the scent of smoke and earth, mingling with the metallic tang of anticipation. Every corner, every alley held the potential for discovery or danger, and our senses were heightened, attuned to the slightest change in the environment. The silence was profound, a living thing that pressed against us, yet within it lay the beating heart of hope. We moved cautiously, guided by the map etched in our minds, a labyrinth of streets and hidden paths that only those who dared venture into the city's heart would know. Our destination was a data center, once a hub of knowledge and power, now a fortress of secrets we needed to unlock. The aliens had been meticulous in their assault, severing the veins of information that coursed through our world, but we were determined to reconnect them, to reignite the flame of human ingenuity. The journey was fraught with peril. The aliens, with their advanced technology and inscrutable motives, had left traps and obstacles to deter any who dared to resist. Yet, as we navigated the debris-strewn streets, I felt a strange kinship with these ruins. They spoke of endurance and transformation, of a world that refused to be extinguished. We were part of that story now, threads woven into the tapestry of a new era. As we neared our target, the sense of urgency grew. The air seemed to pulse with it, a living entity spurring us onward. We paused at the entrance to the data center, a formidable structure cloaked in shadows. The door, a massive slab of reinforced steel, stood as the final barrier between us and the knowledge we sought. My heart pounded in my chest, a drumbeat of anticipation and fear. Around me, I sensed the resolve of my companions, a shared determination that bolstered my own. We had come too far to falter now, and the stakes were too high to retreat. With a nod, I signaled to the team, and we moved as one, a silent force poised to breach the darkness. Inside, the air was cool and musty, tinged with the scent of old paper and forgotten dreams. We fanned out, each of us tasked with a specific role, our actions synchronized in a dance of survival. The corridors stretched out before us, a labyrinth of possibility and threat. With every step, the weight of history pressed upon us, urging us to succeed where others had fallen. I moved deeper into the building, my footsteps echoing softly against the tiled floor. The walls were lined with the dormant sentinels of technology, machines that had once hummed with life, now silent and inert. Yet, beneath the layers of dust and neglect, I sensed a latent power, a potential waiting to be unleashed. As I reached the heart of the data center, I paused, taking in the sight before me. The main terminal, a relic of our technological triumphs, stood at the center of the room. Its screen, blank and lifeless, seemed to challenge me, daring me to awaken it from its slumber. I approached with reverence, fingers brushing against the cold surface as if in greeting. The task before me was daunting, but I felt the weight of our collective hopes pressing against my back, urging me onward. With a deep breath, I began the process, fingers dancing over the keyboard in a symphony of keystrokes. The room was silent, save for the soft click of keys and the distant hum of the building settling around us. Time seemed to stretch and compress, a fluid thing that ebbed and flowed with the rhythm of my work. Each line of code, each command was a step closer to our goal, a step closer to rekindling the flame of human achievement. I was acutely aware of the fragility of our endeavor, the thin line between success and failure that we walked with every breath. As the minutes ticked by, tension mounted, a living thing that coiled in my stomach. I could feel the presence of my companions, their faith in me a tangible force that buoyed my spirits. Failure was not an option, not with so much at stake. I pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on the task at hand, the delicate dance of logic and intuition that would unlock the secrets of the data center. And then, with a surge of triumph, the terminal flickered to life, the screen awash in the soft glow of awakening. A cheer rose from my companions, a sound of pure elation that echoed through the corridors. We had done it, we had breached the fortress of the past and claimed its power for the future. The data flowed before me, a river of information that promised salvation and renewal. We would use it to rebuild, to reconnect the shattered strands of our world and weave them into a tapestry of hope. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of crimson and indigo, I knew that we had taken the first step on a long and arduous journey. But it was a journey we would undertake together, a beacon of light in a world reborn from the ashes of the old. As the screen glowed with the promise of new beginnings, I felt a profound sense of relief wash over me, mingling with the exhilaration of our success. The data center, once a silent monolith of lost dreams, now hummed with the vibrant pulse of potential. My companions and I stood in awe, united by the shared knowledge that this moment marked the dawn of a new era. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and the faint whirring of hard drives spinning to life, each one a heartbeat in the resuscitation of our world. The information before us was a dazzling mosaic of human achievement, a testament to the ingenuity and resilience that had brought us to this pivotal point. We could see the outlines of cities, the delicate networks of communication, the intricate web of economies that had once flourished before the alien onslaught. It was all there, waiting to be harnessed, to be transformed into the lifeblood of a new civilization. Yet, amidst the jubilation, a shadow lingered in the corners of my mind, a whisper of doubt, a reminder of the forces that had brought us to the brink of oblivion. The aliens, with their cold, calculating intelligence, had orchestrated our downfall by seizing control of our most vital infrastructure. They had exploited our dependence on technology, turning our greatest strength into our greatest vulnerability. We could not afford to forget this lesson as we embarked on the path to recovery. With the data now at our fingertips, we faced the monumental task of disseminating it to the remnants of our society. We needed to rebuild our networks, to establish new lines of communication that could withstand the alien threat. It would not be easy. The world as we knew it had been shattered, and the pieces were scattered across a landscape scarred by conflict and fear. As we stood there, contemplating the enormity of our mission, the sky above us deepened into a velvet tapestry strewn with stars. Each twinkling light seemed to whisper a promise of guidance, a reminder that we were not alone in this vast universe. I felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to forge ahead despite the challenges that lay before us. We set to work with a fervor born of necessity, dividing the tasks among us with swift precision. Some of us focused on decoding the most critical information, while others began the arduous process of rebuilding the communication infrastructure. I took charge of coordinating our efforts, ensuring that every step we took was aligned with our ultimate goal, the restoration of human society. Days blended into nights as we toiled tirelessly, fueled by a potent mixture of caffeine and hope. The data center became our sanctuary, a place where the flicker of monitors and the hum of machinery provided a comforting rhythm to our endeavors. Outside, the world was a landscape of uncertainty and danger, but within these walls, we were creating a new reality, one bite at a time. Our progress was not without setbacks. The aliens, aware of our efforts, launched sporadic attacks, testing the defenses we had hastily erected. Each incursion was a reminder of the stakes, a jolt of adrenaline that kept us on edge. Yet, with every challenge, we grew more adept, more confident in our ability to anticipate their moves and counter them with our own ingenuity. As the weeks passed, a fragile network began to take shape, connecting pockets of survivors who had managed to endure the chaos. We shared our knowledge, our resources, and our dreams of a brighter tomorrow. Slowly, a sense of community emerged, a tapestry woven from the threads of resilience and shared purpose. The turning point came when we received a transmission from a group of scientists who had been working in isolation, hidden from the alien gaze. They had made a breakthrough, discovering a way to disrupt the alien technology that had so effectively crippled our own. It was a glimmer of hope, a potential weapon in our struggle for liberation. With this new knowledge, we devised a plan to strike back, to reclaim our world from the alien invaders. It was a bold move, fraught with danger and uncertainty, but it was a risk we were willing to take. We had come too far, sacrificed too much, to falter now. The day of the operation dawned with a sense of quiet anticipation. The air was crisp with the promise of change, and a hush fell over our makeshift command center as we prepared to launch our assault. I could feel the weight of my companions' eyes upon me, their hopes and fears mirrored in my own heart. As the countdown began, I took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought us here. We were a disparate group, united by the common thread of extinction, yet bound together by a shared vision of a better future. It was this unity that gave us strength, that drove us to fight against insurmountable odds. When the signal was finally given, we unleashed our plan with precision and determination. The air crackled with tension as we watched the screens, our breaths held in collective suspense. And then, like a dam bursting, the alien networks began to falter, their once invincible systems crumbling under the weight of our ingenuity. A cheer erupted from our ranks, a sound of triumph that echoed through the corridors of the data center. We had done it, against all odds, We had struck a blow for humanity, a declaration that we would not go quietly into the night. As the dust settled, I looked around at my companions, their faces alight with a mixture of disbelief and elation. We had achieved the impossible, and it was only the beginning. The road ahead was still fraught with challenges, but we would face them together, buoyed by the knowledge that we had reclaimed our destiny. In the days that followed, our victory became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to rise up and join our cause. The world was a different place now, its foundations shaken and its future uncertain, but it was a world ripe with possibility, a canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of renewal. As I stood beneath the vast expanse of stars, I felt a profound sense of peace. We were survivors, dreamers, builders of a new dawn. The alien invasion had brought us to the brink, but it had also ignited a fire within us, a burning desire to reclaim our place in the universe. And so, with the constellations as our guide, we embarked on the next chapter of our journey, resolved to forge a future that honored the past while embracing the promise of the unknown. In the end, it was not the darkness that defined us, but the light we chose to kindle in its wake. The nights were now quieter, save for the gentle rustling of leaves and the occasional distant call of a night bird. The world had grown still, as if pausing to catch its breath after the tumult of recent events. We had emerged from the shadows of fear, but the path ahead was still shrouded in uncertainty. Each day was a step into the unknown, yet with each step, we found strength in unity and purpose. In the aftermath of our triumph, a peculiar energy permeated the air. It was as if the very atmosphere had shifted, vibrating with a newfound vitality. The alien presence, once an oppressive force looming over our existence, had retreated, leaving behind a world that bore the scars of conflict but also the seeds of rebirth. The cities, once illuminated by the artificial glow of technology, now glimmered under the natural light of the sun, revealing their dormant beauty. The data centers, those vast catacombs of knowledge and power, had been silenced. In their stead, we rediscovered the art of human connection, of storytelling and shared experiences. The digital networks that had once defined our lives were replaced by the nuanced web of human interaction, where each conversation, each glance, held a depth that technology could never replicate. Among our ranks was an eclectic mix of individuals, scientists, artists, farmers, and dreamers, all united by a common goal. We were no longer just survivors, we were architects of a new world. Our gatherings were filled with the hum of creativity and innovation, as ideas flowed freely, unfettered by the constraints of the past. Plans were sketched out on paper, blueprints for a future that was as much about preserving the old as it was about embracing the new. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet, I found myself atop a hill overlooking what remained of our town. Beside me stood Anya, a brilliant engineer whose mind was as sharp as the stars that now began to twinkle overhead. She had been instrumental in devising the strategies that led to our victory, her insights illuminating paths we had not dared to tread. "Do you ever wonder what they'll do now?" I asked, nodding towards the heavens, where the alien threat had once descended from. Anya pondered for a moment, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "They underestimated us," she replied softly. "They saw us as dependent on our technology, and to an extent, they were right. But they didn't account for our resilience, our capacity to adapt." Her words resonated deeply. The invasion had indeed been a catalyst, forcing us to confront our vulnerabilities. Yet, in doing so, it had also revealed our greatest strengths, our ability to unite, to persevere, and to innovate under pressure. The very traits that had seen us through countless challenges throughout history. As the night deepened, the stars shone more brightly, casting their silvery glow over the landscape. It was a reminder of the vastness of the universe and our small yet significant place within it. The aliens had come and gone, but the stars remained, eternal witnesses to the ebb and flow of civilizations. In the days that followed, we set to work rebuilding, drawing on the lessons of the past while daring to dream of a future unbound by the limits of our previous existence. Our community thrived, a testament to the power of collaboration and shared purpose. We replanted fields, rebuilt homes, and reopened schools, infusing each endeavor with a sense of hope and possibility. I became intimately involved in a project aimed at restoring communication with other survivor enclaves. It was a delicate process, requiring not just technical expertise but also diplomacy and patience. We reached out, extending a hand of friendship to those who, like us, had weathered the storm. Slowly, the network grew, a web of human connection that spanned continents, each thread a story of survival and resilience. One afternoon, as I was working on a makeshift radio transmitter, I received a transmission from a distant settlement. The voice crackled through the static, but the message was clear. "We hear you," it said. "We're here. We're with you." Those simple words carried a weight of emotion, a reminder that we were not alone in our struggle. Across the globe, others were forging their paths, each journey unique yet intertwined with ours. Together, we were writing a new chapter in the history of humanity, one defined not by fear or division but by unity and hope. As the weeks turned into months, our efforts bore fruit. Fields once barren now teemed with life. Communities once fractured now thrived in harmony. The world that had seemed so dark and uncertain was gradually being illuminated by the light of human spirit. Yet, amidst the rebuilding and renewal, there remained unanswered questions, mysteries left in the wake of the invasion. What had driven the aliens to target our data centers, to strike at the very core of our technological infrastructure? What had they hoped to achieve? These questions lingered, casting a shadow over our newfound peace. In the quiet moments, when the hustle of the day gave way to the tranquility of night, I found myself pondering these mysteries. There was a part of me that yearned for answers, for closure to the chapter that had so profoundly altered the course of our lives. But perhaps, I mused, it was not the answers that mattered most. Perhaps it was the journey, the discoveries made along the way, and the connections forged in the crucible of adversity that truly defined us. We were more than the sum of our fears. We were the embodiment of hope and determination. As I stood once more beneath the vast tapestry of stars, I felt a profound sense of belonging. We were not alone in the universe, and while the paths ahead were uncertain, we were ready to face them together, our hearts and minds open to the infinite possibilities that awaited us. And so, with the constellations as our guide and the earth beneath our feet, we continued forward, resolved to build a future that honored the past while embracing the boundless promise of the unknown. In the end, it was not the darkness that defined us, but the light we chose to kindle in its wake. The morning arrived softly, with the first hints of dawn painting the horizon in hues of muted lavender and rose. The air was crisp, a reminder of the approaching winter, and as I inhaled deeply, I could smell the fresh earth, the promise of a new day. Each breath seemed to whisper of change, of renewal, and of the resilience that lay within us. In the encampment, a gentle hum of activity had already begun. The makeshift community we had built from the ashes of civilization was slowly coming to life. The smell of wood smoke drifted on the breeze, mingling with the comforting aroma of brewing coffee, a rare luxury we had managed to preserve. The sound of quiet conversations and the occasional laughter punctuated the stillness, a testament to our indomitable spirit. I moved through the camp, exchanging nods and smiles with those I passed. Each person carried their own story of survival, their own scars and triumphs, yet together we shared a common purpose: to rebuild, to endure, and to find meaning in the aftermath of chaos. The bonds we had forged were stronger than any we had known before, woven tightly by the threads of shared experience and collective hope. As I approached the central gathering area, I saw Ethan already there, his silhouette outlined against the rising sun. He was busy with the morning rituals, carefully tending to the small vegetable garden we had cultivated. The plants were a testament to our perseverance, thriving despite the odds, much like us. I watched him for a moment, grateful for his steadfast presence, before joining him. "Morning," I greeted, my voice breaking the tranquil silence. He glanced up, a warm smile spreading across his face. "Morning. Another beautiful day, isn't it?" I nodded, looking around at the vibrant colors of the waking world. "It is. Hard to believe how far we've come." Ethan paused, wiping his hands on his jeans as he stood. "We've still got a long way to go, but yeah, we've come a long way. And we'll keep going." There was a quiet determination in his voice, a resolve that mirrored my own. Together, we had faced unimaginable challenges, yet here we stood, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Our attention shifted as a figure approached, their steps purposeful yet unhurried. It was Maria, one of the camp's most resourceful members. Her dark hair was pulled back into a practical braid, and her eyes sparkled with intelligence and a hint of mischief. "Good morning, you two," she called out cheerfully, a bundle of freshly picked herbs cradled in her arms. "I thought these might add a little flavor to breakfast." Ethan chuckled, reaching for one of the sprigs. "You're spoiling us, Maria." She shrugged, a smile playing on her lips. "We deserve a little spoiling now and then. Besides, it's the simple things that keep us grounded." I watched her carefully arrange the herbs on a nearby table, their fragrance mingling with the other scents of the morning. It was a small gesture, yet it held a profound significance. In a world that had been stripped bare, it was these simple acts of kindness and care that reminded us of our humanity. As we prepared breakfast, a sense of camaraderie filled the air. The crackling fire, the clinking of utensils, and the gentle murmur of conversation created a symphony of normalcy, a brief respite from the uncertainties that loomed beyond our encampment. After the meal, we gathered for the morning meeting, a tradition we had established to maintain order and focus. It was a time for sharing news, discussing plans, and addressing any concerns. As we sat together, the sun fully risen now, casting a golden glow over our faces, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the people around me. The discussions flowed easily, covering topics ranging from security measures to resource management. Each voice, regardless of age or experience, was valued, contributing to the collective wisdom of the group. It was democracy in its purest form, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As the meeting drew to a close, Maria raised a point that had been on everyone's mind. "We should talk about the recent reports of activity in the southern quadrant," she said, her tone serious yet calm. A ripple of unease passed through the group. The southern quadrant was a region we had avoided due to reports of alien presence. Despite our desire to rebuild and reclaim our world, the threat was ever present, a shadow that loomed over our progress. Ethan spoke up, his expression thoughtful. "I've been thinking the same thing. We need to know more about what's happening there, but we can't risk too much." I nodded, feeling the weight of the decision. "We need a reconnaissance team, volunteers who are willing to assess the situation and report back. It's a risk, but knowing what we're up against is crucial." Silence fell over the group as they considered the proposal. The uncertainty was palpable, yet beneath it lay a shared understanding of the necessity. We could not afford to be complacent, not when the stakes were so high. "I'll go," Maria said, her voice steady and unwavering. "And I'll need a couple of volunteers to join me." There was an immediate response, hands rising in solidarity. It was a testament to the courage that burned brightly within each of us, a refusal to be cowed by fear. As the volunteers were chosen and plans were made, I felt a surge of pride for the community we had built. We were no longer individuals struggling to survive. We were a collective force, united by a common purpose and driven by a shared hope. The rest of the day unfolded with a sense of quiet resolve. We went about our tasks, each person contributing to the greater good in their own way. The gardens were tended, repairs were made, and resources were carefully managed. It was a delicate balance, but one we had learned to maintain through trial and error. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the land, I found myself standing once more beneath the vast canopy of stars. The sky was a tapestry of light and darkness, a reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay beyond our world. I thought of the journey that lay ahead, of the challenges we would face and the discoveries we would make. There was a part of me that feared the unknown, yet a larger part that embraced it, eager to see what lay beyond the horizon. In the end, it was the connections we had forged, the bonds we had built, and the hope we had kindled that would guide us. We were more than survivors. We were pioneers, charting a new path through the wilderness of uncertainty. And as I stood there, the cool night air wrapping around me like a comforting embrace, I felt a sense of peace. We were ready for whatever lay ahead, our hearts and minds open to the infinite possibilities of the universe. We were not alone, and together, we would face the unknown, one step at a time. The night stretched out before us, a vast ocean of stars whispering tales of distant worlds and uncharted frontiers. The air was crisp and filled with the scent of earth and leaves, a reminder of the world we were trying to protect. It was a world now shrouded in uncertainty, its future as fragile as the gossamer threads of a spider's web glistening in the moonlight. As a DHS officer, I had always believed in the strength of human resolve, in our ability to overcome any challenge through sheer determination and ingenuity. But the events of the past months had tested that belief, shaking it to its very core. The alien invasion had begun not with the dramatic descent of spacecraft from the heavens, but with the insidious infiltration of our digital realm, severing the lifelines of communication and control. It was as if the very essence of our modern world had been unraveled, leaving us adrift in a sea of chaos. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a new kind of order was emerging. Small communities, once reliant on the conveniences of technology, were learning to adapt and thrive in ways that had long been forgotten. Skills that had been deemed obsolete were now invaluable, and the bonds of family and friendship had become the true currency of survival. With each passing day, I found myself drawn closer to the people around me, their resilience and courage a beacon of hope in the darkness. There was Sam, the former IT specialist who had become our de facto engineer, fashioning makeshift solutions from salvaged electronics. Then there was Elena, a botanist whose knowledge of plants had transformed our fledgling garden into a veritable Eden, providing sustenance and healing in equal measure. And of course, there was Marcus, our leader, whose calm demeanor and unyielding spirit had guided us through the darkest hours. As we stood together beneath the stars, our eyes turned toward the horizon, I felt a profound sense of unity, a shared purpose that transcended the fear and uncertainty that had once threatened to consume us. We were more than a group of survivors. We were a family, bound by a common goal and a determination to reclaim our world. The night wore on, and with it came the quiet hum of life returning to the land. The distant call of an owl, the rustling of leaves in the breeze, the gentle lapping of water against the shore, all reminders of the natural world that continued to endure despite the upheaval. But beneath the surface of this peaceful facade lay an undercurrent of tension, a sense of impending change that kept us vigilant. For we knew that the aliens, though unseen, were still out there, their intentions as inscrutable as the stars themselves. And so we prepared, honing our skills and fortifying our defenses, ever mindful of the fragile balance that lay between survival and extinction. It was during one of these nights, as I patrolled the perimeter of our encampment, that I heard a faint rustling in the underbrush. My heart quickened, and I paused, straining to discern the source of the sound. It was a subtle movement, almost imperceptible, yet it set my instincts on edge. Slowly, I approached, my flashlight casting a narrow beam that sliced through the shadows. There, concealed beneath a tangle of vines and leaves, lay a small, metallic object. It was unlike anything I had seen before, its surface smooth and reflective, catching the moonlight in a dazzling display of colors. My curiosity piqued. I knelt to examine it more closely, careful not to disturb whatever delicate mechanism might lie within. As I reached out to touch it, a sudden jolt of energy coursed through my fingertips, sending a shockwave of sensation up my arm. I recoiled instinctively, my heart racing as I struggled to comprehend what I had just experienced. It was as if the object had come alive, responding to my presence in some strange, inexplicable way. Despite the initial shock, a sense of wonder began to take hold, my mind racing with possibilities. Could this be a piece of alien technology, left behind as a clue to their intentions? Or perhaps it was something more benign, a relic of a bygone era rediscovered in the most unlikely of places. With newfound determination, I retrieved the object, wrapping it carefully in a cloth before tucking it into my pack. Whatever its purpose, I knew it was important, a key to unlocking the mysteries that had long eluded us. Returning to camp, I sought out Sam, eager to share my discovery. His eyes widened with interest as I unveiled the object, his mind already whirring with theories and hypotheses. Together, we examined it under the light of a makeshift lamp, our excitement growing with each new revelation. "This material," Sam murmured, running a finger over the surface, "it's unlike anything we've encountered before. Its composition is extraordinary. But what does it do?" I asked, my voice tinged with both curiosity and apprehension. "That's the question, isn't it?" Sam replied, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips. "We'll need to run some tests, see if we can decipher its function. But whatever it is, it's a game changer." As we continued our analysis, the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. It was a new day, filled with new possibilities, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a glimmer of hope. The path before us was still fraught with danger and uncertainty, but it was a path we would walk together, united by our shared purpose and the promise of a brighter future. In the days that followed, the object became the focal point of our efforts, its secrets slowly unraveling under the careful scrutiny of our team. Each breakthrough brought us closer to understanding the technology that had once seemed so alien and impenetrable. But with each discovery came new challenges, as if the object itself was testing our resolve, pushing us to our limits. There were moments of frustration, when progress seemed to stall, and moments of triumph, when the pieces finally fell into place, revealing a glimpse of the bigger picture. Through it all, the bonds between us grew stronger, forged in the crucible of adversity. We were no longer just survivors of an invasion. We were explorers, pioneers on the frontiers of knowledge, driven by a shared vision of a world reborn. And as the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the horizon once shrouded in darkness began to brighten, a beacon of hope guiding us toward a future filled with promise and possibility. Together, we would face whatever lay ahead, our hearts and minds open to the infinite wonders of the universe. The morning light filtered softly through the makeshift skylights of our underground base, casting delicate patterns across the walls, like a painter's brush tracing the first strokes of a masterpiece. The air was charged with the quiet hum of activity, a symphony of resolve underscored by the gentle clatter of keyboards and the rhythmic scribble of pens on paper. Our sanctuary, once a hollow refuge from the chaos above, had transformed into a bustling hive of innovation and discovery. Each day began with a silent ritual, our team gathering around the central console, eyes reflecting both exhaustion and excitement. We reviewed the night's work, scanning the data for anomalies, patterns, anything that might unlock another piece of the alien puzzle. And every day, without fail, we found ourselves drawn deeper into the intricacies of their technology, a tapestry woven with threads of mystery and genius. The alien device, now affectionately dubbed the Enigma by our team, sat in the center of the room, its surface a sleek obsidian mirror reflecting our determined faces. It seemed to pulse with a life of its own, a silent sentinel watching over our progress. At times, I imagined it was aware of us, its circuits humming with an ancient wisdom, waiting for us to prove our worth. Our lead scientist, Dr. Alara Mason, had become the heart of our operation. Her eyes, a piercing shade of emerald, sparkled with a blend of intellect and intuition that inspired confidence in all of us. She spoke of the device as if it were an old friend, her hands moving over its surface with a gentle familiarity, coaxing secrets from its depths. "We're close," she announced one day, her voice a soft melody that broke the silence of concentration. "I can feel it. There's something here, a message, perhaps, or a map." A map, the word hung in the air, filling the room with a renewed sense of purpose. A map could mean many things. A guide to their technology, a blueprint of their intentions, or, possibly, a means of communication. It could be the key to bridging the chasm between our worlds. As the days passed, we delved deeper into the Enigma's secrets, each revelation a stepping stone across the vast ocean of the unknown. We discovered a complex array of symbols etched into its surface, a language that defied all conventional understanding. It was a dance of light and shadow, a symphony of shapes and lines that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. To decipher this language became our obsession, each team member bringing their unique skills to bear. Linguists studied its structure, mathematicians sought patterns within its chaotic beauty, and artists sketched its forms, trying to capture its essence on paper. Together, we pieced together fragments of meaning, like archaeologists unearthing an ancient civilization. But as we edged closer to unlocking its secrets, a sense of unease began to creep into the edges of our consciousness. The Enigma was not just a passive object. It reacted to our efforts, its surface growing warmer, the hum of its circuits growing louder, more insistent. It was as if it were feeding off our curiosity, drawing us deeper into its web. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over our subterranean world, a breakthrough occurred. Dr. Mason, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the console, let out a gasp of astonishment. "Look at this," she whispered, her fingers tracing a newly discovered pattern on the Enigma's surface. "It's a sequence, a series of coordinates." Our hearts raced as we gathered around, the weight of the moment pressing upon us. A map, indeed, but to where, and what lay at the end of this path? Speculation ran rampant, ideas and theories colliding like particles in a super collider, each sparking new possibilities. Could it be a location on Earth? Or perhaps a distant planet, a beacon calling out to the stars? The thought of interstellar travel, once relegated to the realm of science fiction, now danced tantalizingly close to reality. Driven by a shared sense of urgency and wonder, we set to work plotting the coordinates, using what resources we had to triangulate their position. The process was painstaking, fraught with the kind of tension that only comes when standing on the precipice of discovery. Then, just as dawn began to break, painting the sky with hues of lavender and rose, the answer revealed itself. The coordinates pointed to a remote location deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, a place untouched by the modern world, shrouded in mystery and legend. A hush fell over the room as we absorbed the implications. The Amazon, a region known for its impenetrable jungles and hidden secrets, now beckoned us with the promise of answers, perhaps even a glimpse into the minds of our alien visitors. But the journey would not be without peril. The world above was still in turmoil, and the prospect of traveling across continents, through war-torn landscapes and hostile territory, filled us with trepidation. Yet, the call of the unknown was irresistible, and the urge to uncover the truth, to grasp the meaning of the enigma, was a siren song that could not be ignored. As we prepared for the journey ahead, gathering supplies and mapping our route, a sense of camaraderie enveloped us, a shared understanding that whatever lay ahead, we would face it together. We were not just a team. We were a family, bound by the trials we had endured, and the hope that fueled our dreams. The enigma, now silent, seemed to watch us with a quiet anticipation, its mysteries locked away, waiting to be revealed. And as we stood on the brink of a new adventure, our hearts beat in unison with the rhythm of the universe, ready to embrace whatever fate had in store. The path before us was uncertain, a tapestry of light and shadow woven with threads of promise and peril. But as we stepped into the unknown, the horizon brightened with the dawn of a new era, where the mysteries of the cosmos awaited, eager to share their secrets with those brave enough to seek them. And so, with resolve in our hearts and the enigma as our guide, we embarked on our journey, into the heart of the Amazon and beyond. The dense canopy of the Amazon spread above us like a living cathedral, the filtered sunlight dappling the forest floor in golden hues. Each step we took was an act of discovery, the air rich with the earthy scent of damp soil and the symphony of unseen creatures. In this primeval wilderness, the world seemed to hold its breath, as if acknowledging the gravity of our quest. Our party moved with a deliberate pace, the quiet crunch of leaves underfoot the only sound against the backdrop of the jungle's vibrant life. At the helm was Captain Reynolds, his gaze fixed on the horizon, eyes scanning for signs of the path we needed to follow. His presence was a source of strength, a steady beacon in the swirling uncertainty that surrounded us. Beside him, Zara navigated with the precision of an artisan, her fingers dancing over the holographic map projected from her wrist device, a rare piece of technology that had somehow evaded the alien onslaught. She was our compass, her instincts finely tuned to the subtleties of this untamed land. Her calm demeanor belied an inner fire, a fierce determination that inspired us all. The rest of the team followed in a loose formation, each member contributing their unique skills to our collective effort. There was Marcus, whose sharp wit and sharper blade kept us safe from the jungle's more terrestrial threats, and Elena, our medic, whose gentle touch could soothe the deepest wound. Together, we formed a tapestry of resilience, every thread vital to the whole. As we pressed deeper into the forest, the air grew thicker, the humidity clinging to our skin like a second layer. It was as if the Amazon itself was aware of our intrusion, testing our resolve with its oppressive embrace. Yet, despite the discomfort, there was a sense of awe that pervaded our every step. The jungle was alive with secrets, its ancient heart beating in time with the mysteries we sought to uncover. The enigma, though silent, was a constant presence, an invisible thread weaving through our journey. We had no way of knowing what its true purpose was, only that it held the key to understanding the aliens' intentions and perhaps even turning the tide of their invasion. The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating, a tantalizing glimpse of what might be possible if we succeeded. Our path was not without peril. The jungle was an unforgiving mistress, her beauty matched only by her danger. Predatory eyes glimmered in the shadows, and the cries of unseen creatures echoed through the trees, a reminder that we were not alone. Yet, it was not the wildlife that posed the greatest threat. Somewhere in this vast expanse, we knew the aliens had a foothold, their presence as insidious as the vines that crept around ancient ruins. It was during one of our rest stops that the first sign of their presence became apparent. We had settled in a small clearing, the team scattered as we took a moment to catch our breath and replenish our energy. The air was thick with the scent of blooming orchids, their vibrant colors a striking contrast to the greens and browns that dominated the landscape. I was lost in thought, the weight of our mission heavy on my shoulders, when Zara's voice cut through the stillness. "Look at this," she said, her tone laced with urgency. We gathered around her, peering at the holographic map where a new signal had appeared, pulsing with a rhythmic certainty. "It's an energy signature," Zara explained, her brow furrowed in concentration. "But it's not natural. This is alien." The realization struck us like a physical blow, the implications clear. We were not just wandering through the jungle. We were being watched, tracked by an unseen enemy. The thought sent a shiver down my spine, the hairs on my arms standing on end. In that instant, the jungle seemed to close in around us, the shadows growing darker, more menacing. Yet, with the danger came a clarity of purpose. We were on the right path, closer to the answers we sought than we had dared to hope. The enigma had led us here for a reason, and now it was up to us to see our mission through. As we resumed our journey, the atmosphere was charged with a new intensity, every rustle of leaves a potential harbinger of danger. Our senses were heightened, attuned to the slightest change in our surroundings. It was as if the jungle itself had become an extension of our awareness, its secrets whispering to us in a language older than time. With each passing hour, the tension grew, a coiled spring ready to snap at the slightest provocation. We moved with purpose, our eyes scanning the underbrush, every sound dissected and analyzed. The jungle had become a chessboard, the stakes higher than any of us had ever faced. It was nearing dusk when we stumbled upon the source of the signal. Hidden deep within the forest was a clearing, its center dominated by a structure that defied explanation. It was both alien and familiar, its sleek lines and shimmering surface a stark contrast to the organic beauty that surrounded it. The structure seemed to pulse with an inner light, casting an ethereal glow that bathed the clearing in an otherworldly radiance. We approached with caution, our movements slow and deliberate. The air was charged with energy, a tingling sensation that prickled our skin, raising the fine hairs on the back of our necks. As we drew closer, the structure seemed to hum, a low, resonant sound that thrummed through our bones. It was Marcus who first broke the silence, his voice a hushed whisper. "What is this place?" No one had an answer, though we all felt the gravity of the moment. This was what we had been searching for, the culmination of our journey. The enigma had led us here, and now it was up to us to unravel its secrets. As we circled the structure, examining its surface, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the precipice of something momentous. The answers we sought were within reach, yet so was the danger. The aliens would not take kindly to our presence, and their response would be swift and merciless. But as I looked at the faces of my companions, I saw not fear, but determination. We had come too far, sacrificed too much, to turn back now. Together, we would unveil the mysteries of this place, and perhaps find a way to turn the tide in our favor. With a deep breath, I stepped forward, my hand reaching out to touch the surface of the structure. It was cool to the touch, a strange sensation that sent a jolt of electricity racing up my arm. And in that moment, I knew we were on the brink of something extraordinary, the secrets of the cosmos within our grasp, waiting to be revealed to those brave enough to seek them. The jungle around us seemed to hold its breath, the world poised on the edge of revelation. Whatever lay ahead, we would face it together, a family bound by hope and the promise of a new dawn. The air was thick with anticipation, the kind that buzzes like an electric charge, setting the hairs on the back of your neck on end. My fingers tingled from where they brushed against the alien structure, a monument to the unknown. The quiet hum of the jungle was punctuated by the distant calls of unseen creatures, their voices echoing like whispers of forgotten secrets. This was a place where worlds collided, where the familiar met the unfathomable. The structure loomed before us, an enigmatic titan of alien design, its surface shifting subtly in the dappled moonlight that filtered through the canopy. It seemed alive, pulsating with an energy I couldn't quite comprehend. As I stepped back to join my companions, their faces shadowed yet resolute, I felt a profound sense of unity. We were a motley crew, brought together by fate and necessity, yet bound by a shared vision. "Let's move, but carefully," I whispered, my voice barely audible over the rhythmic symphony of the jungle. We began to circle the structure, seeking an entrance or a clue, anything that might grant us access to the secrets within. The air was cool and moist, carrying with it the scent of earth and foliage, a reminder of the life that thrived around us despite the looming threat. As we moved, the ground beneath our feet seemed to shift, the soil soft and pliable, as if the earth itself was alive, aware of our presence. The darkness was our ally and our adversary, concealing us from the watchful eyes of our alien foe, yet obscuring the path ahead. We pressed on, our movements synchronized, a silent dance of shadows against the monolithic form of the alien structure. Hours seemed to blur as we searched, each second stretching into an eternity. My senses were heightened, every sound amplified in the stillness, every movement magnified in the dim light. And then, just as hope began to wane, we found it, a narrow fissure in the side of the structure, barely discernible in the shifting patterns of the surface. It was a doorway, not in the traditional sense, but an opening nonetheless, an invitation to delve deeper into the mystery. The air that emanated from within was cooler, tinged with an unfamiliar metallic scent, like ozone after a lightning storm. It beckoned us forward, a siren song that promised answers to questions we hadn't dared to ask. We hesitated, exchanging glances laden with unspoken words. This was the point of no return, the moment where our quest would either reach fruition or unravel in disaster. I felt the weight of our mission, a burden shared yet deeply personal. But as I looked at my companions, their eyes reflecting the same resolve that burned within me, I knew we were ready. With a nod, I led the way, stepping through the fissure into a world that defied understanding. The interior was vast, a cavernous expanse of alien architecture that dwarfed anything I had ever seen. The walls glowed with a soft luminescence, casting an ethereal light that danced across the intricate patterns etched into the surface. It was a place of beauty and menace, a paradox of design that spoke of a civilization far beyond our comprehension. The air was thick with the hum of alien technology, a symphony of sounds that resonated in my bones. We moved cautiously, our footsteps echoing in the vastness, reverberating off the walls in a symphony of sound. Each step felt like a march into the unknown, every breath a testament to our resolve. As we ventured deeper, the reality of our situation began to sink in. We were intruders in a world not our own, explorers on the edge of a precipice. The alien technology around us was both a marvel and a threat, a testament to the advanced civilization that had orchestrated our downfall. Amidst the wonder and fear, I felt a growing sense of purpose. This was more than a mission. It was a fight for survival, a battle for the future of our world. The data centers may have fallen, but the spirit of humanity was alive and well, embodied in our small band of warriors. We came upon a chamber, its entrance flanked by towering columns of alien metal that shimmered with an inner light. Inside, the air was charged with energy, a palpable force that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. In the center of the room stood a console, its surface alive with symbols and lights that pulsed in time with the rhythm of the structure. It was a control center, the heart of the alien operation, the key to our salvation or our doom. As we approached, the symbols shifted, rearranging themselves in a dance of light and shadow, a language of the stars that spoke of power and knowledge. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat a reminder of the gravity of our task. The console was a puzzle, a riddle wrapped in enigma, yet I felt drawn to it, compelled by a force I couldn't explain. I reached out, my fingers grazing the surface, and the symbols flared in response, a cascade of light that enveloped us in its glow. In that moment, the world fell away, and I was adrift in a sea of information, a torrent of data that streamed into my consciousness. It was overwhelming, a flood of images and sounds that threatened to drown me in its depths. But amidst the chaos, I found clarity, a thread of understanding that wove its way through the cacophony. The aliens had come not as conquerors, but as refugees, fleeing a disaster that threatened their own world. They sought sanctuary, a place to rebuild, to thrive. Yet their arrival had been met with fear and hostility, their intentions misunderstood. The attack on our data centers had been a desperate bid for survival, a means to level the playing field in a world that viewed them as a threat. As the realization hit me, the symbols shifted once more, revealing a path forward, a way to communicate, to bridge the chasm that separated our worlds. It was a chance for redemption, an opportunity to rewrite the narrative, to forge an alliance that could save both our races. I turned to my companions, their faces illuminated by the glow of the console, and saw in their eyes the same understanding, the same hope. Together, we had the power to change the course of history, to turn the tide in our favor. We were on the brink of something extraordinary, a new dawn that promised peace and prosperity for all. The jungle outside was silent, the world holding its breath, waiting for the outcome of our journey. And as I stood there, bathed in the light of the alien console, I knew that whatever lay ahead, we would face it together, a family bound by hope and the promise of a new beginning. The air inside the chamber was thick with anticipation, a palpable tension that seemed to echo the silence of the jungle outside. The console's luminescence cast long shadows across the walls, flickering like the faint pulse of a heartbeat, rhythmic and soothing, yet tinged with the urgency of our task. I could feel the weight of countless eyes upon us, eyes of those who had fallen, of those who had hoped and dreamed, and of those who watched from the stars, yearning for connection. As I stood there, The realization of our mission's gravity settled over me like a mantle. We were not just representatives of humanity, but of Earth itself, bearers of a fragile peace that had the potential to flourish or shatter at the slightest misstep. Beside me, my companions were immersed in their own reflections, their expressions a tapestry of determination and resolve. There was Marcus, his hands poised over the console, his face a mask of concentration as he deciphered the alien language with an ease born of countless hours spent in study and preparation. His presence was a quiet strength, a reassurance that we were not alone in this endeavor. To my left, Sarah stood with a quiet intensity, her eyes scanning the symbols with an artist's eye for detail, her mind weaving connections and possibilities. She embodied the spirit of collaboration, a bridge between science and empathy, her insights guiding us through the labyrinth of alien thought. And then there was Elena, her gaze fixed on the console's shifting lights, her intuition a beacon in the darkness. She was the heart of our group, her optimism a balm that softened the edges of our fear, reminding us of the humanity we fought to preserve. The console's symbols shimmered and shifted, aligning in a pattern that spoke of harmony and understanding. I reached out, my fingers barely grazing the surface, and felt a surge of warmth, a connection that transcended language and culture. It was as if the console recognized our intent, acknowledging our efforts to reach out, to bridge the gulf that had separated us for so long. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the chamber, resonating through the air like a gentle song. The symbols rearranged themselves, forming a sequence that Marcus identified as an invitation, a request for dialogue. We had opened a channel, a line of communication with the alien consciousness that had eluded us for so long. With a deep breath, I activated the communication link, my voice steady as I spoke words of peace and cooperation. We come in peace, seeking understanding and alliance. We wish to learn from you, to share our world and our knowledge, so that together, we may thrive. The response was immediate, a cascade of images and emotions that flooded my mind, painting a picture of a civilization both ancient and advanced. A people who had once known the beauty of unity and the devastation of conflict. They were not so different from us, driven by the same desires, the same fears. As the dialogue unfolded, a vision of their world emerged, a tapestry woven with the threads of history and hope. They had come to Earth not as conquerors, but as refugees, their own world lost to the ravages of war. Our data centers had become their lifeline, a means of survival in a universe that had turned hostile. The realization struck me like a thunderbolt. We were not on opposing sides, but fellow travelers on the same journey, seeking solace and sanctuary in a cosmos fraught with peril. We had been blind to their plight, our fear blinding us to the possibility of friendship. The hum of the chamber intensified, the symbols coalescing into a singular message, a plea for unity. As the words crystallized in my mind, I knew that this was our moment, the turning point in a saga that had spanned the stars. We will stand with you, I declared, my voice firm with conviction. Together, we will forge a future where both our peoples can flourish, where the mistakes of the past are but echoes, and the promise of tomorrow shines bright. The chamber seemed to exhale, the tension dissipating as a new energy filled the space. My companions exchanged glances, their faces alight with the thrill of possibility. We had done it, we had bridged the divide, paving the way for a new era of collaboration. Outside, the jungle stirred, the canopy whispering secrets of the ancient world, bearing witness to our pact. The air was crisp with the scent of rain, a promise of renewal that mirrored the hope blossoming in our hearts. We stepped out of the chamber, the undergrowth crunching softly beneath our feet, and looked up at the sky where stars twinkled like distant beacons, guiding us forward. The night was alive with the symphony of life, a reminder that we were part of something greater, a small but vital piece of the cosmic puzzle. As we walked back to our camp, each step felt lighter, buoyed by the knowledge that we were not alone. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and unknowns, but we were ready to face it, united in purpose and spirit. The journey had only just begun, a story still unfolding on the pages of time, but we held the pen, ready to write a future where peace was not just a dream, but a reality shared by all. Together, we would carve a new destiny, one where the war of the worlds gave way to the harmony of the spheres, where the music of the cosmos played a song of hope that resonated in every heart. And as dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and rose, we stood side by side, ready to embrace the dawn of a new world, a world born from the ashes of conflict and nurtured by the promise of peace. In the gentle embrace of the dawn, our camp stirred to life. The soft murmur of the wind through the trees carried with it the whispers of possibility, a soothing balm to the scars of the past. We wore these scars like medals, reminders of battles fought both within and without, yet they did not define us. Instead, they served as markers of resilience, echoing the tenacity that had brought us to this moment. The morning air was crisp, infused with the earthy scent of dew-kissed foliage. As I stood on the edge of our encampment, gazing out at the sprawling tapestry of nature, I felt a profound sense of connection to the world around me. The birds sang their morning hymns, their melodies weaving through the trees like silver threads. It was a song of renewal, of beginnings unfurling like the tender leaves of spring. In the distance, the remnants of our old world lay silent, the skeletal frames of skyscrapers piercing the skyline like forgotten sentinels. They once symbolized human achievement, yet now they stood as reminders of a hubris that had nearly cost us everything. The alien invasion had torn through the fabric of our reality, leaving behind a tapestry of chaos and uncertainty. But from that chaos, we had emerged stronger, more determined to reclaim our world and forge a new path forward. Our camp was a microcosm of this new world, a place where hope and determination intertwined like vines around a sturdy oak. People from all walks of life had come together, united by a shared vision of a future unmarred by conflict. Engineers, scientists, artists, and dreamers, each brought their unique gifts, weaving them into the fabric of our burgeoning society. Sarah, one of our brightest engineers, had been working tirelessly to restore some semblance of communication. The aliens had targeted our data centers with surgical precision, severing the digital lifelines that connected us. But Sarah was undeterred, her fingers dancing over the keys of her makeshift terminal with a grace that belied the complexity of her task. As I approached her workstation, she looked up, her eyes bright with a mix of exhaustion and excitement. "I've made some progress," she said, her voice a melody of determination. "It's not much, but we've managed to establish a rudimentary network. It's like trying to weave a tapestry with only a handful of threads, but it's a start." I watched as she pointed to a flickering screen, lines of code dancing across its surface like fireflies in the night. It was a fragile web, but it was ours, a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. "We'll need to be cautious," she continued, her brow furrowing slightly. "If the aliens detect our signals, they might attempt to dismantle what we've built. But I believe with time, we can strengthen it, make it undetectable." Her optimism was infectious, and as I stood there, I felt a surge of hope. Technology had once been our Achilles heel, but now it was becoming our shield, a vital tool in our quest to rebuild. Elsewhere in the camp, preparations were underway for the day's tasks. Groups gathered around small fires, the air filled with the comforting aroma of brewing coffee, a luxury we cherished in these times. Conversations drifted like smoke, mingling with the laughter of children playing among the tents. I made my way to a clearing where Jacob, a veteran with a heart as vast as the open sky, was leading a group in survival training. His voice was a steady cadence, instilling confidence in those who listened. He spoke of tracking and foraging, of reading the signs of the earth like an ancient script. His teachings were not just about survival, but about rediscovering our connection to the land, learning to live in harmony rather than dominion. As I watched, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the trials we had faced, there was a beauty in our struggle, a testament to the indomitable force that drove us forward. In the shadow of adversity, we had found strength, and in that strength, the seeds of a new beginning. The sun climbed higher, casting its golden light over the camp, and with it came a renewed sense of purpose. We were not merely survivors. We were architects of a future yet to be written. Each day was a chapter, each action a word, building a narrative of hope and unity. Later, as the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting the world in shades of amber and indigo, we gathered around the central fire, a circle of warmth and light amidst the encroaching darkness. Stories were shared, voices rising and falling like the tides, carrying with them the echoes of our journey. One by one, the stars emerged, pinpricks of light in the velvet expanse, a celestial audience to our gathering. The cosmos stretched out above us, vast and unknowable, yet within its boundless embrace, we found comfort. It was a reminder that we were part of something greater, a small but vital piece of the grand tapestry of existence. As the fire crackled and the night deepened, I found myself lost in thought, contemplating the road ahead. The challenges were many, the path fraught with uncertainties, but I knew we were ready. We had faced the darkness and emerged into the light, and now, with each passing day, we were forging a new destiny. The night was alive with the symphony of life, a testament to our resilience and our capacity for hope. And as I sat there, surrounded by friends and allies, I knew that together, we would carve a future where peace was not just a dream, but a reality shared by all. The journey had only just begun, a story still unfolding on the pages of time. But we held the pen, ready to write a future where the war of the worlds gave way to the harmony of the spheres, where the music of the cosmos played a song of hope that resonated in every heart. And as the embers of the fire glowed softly, painting our faces with flickering light, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. The promise of a new world lay before us, a world born from the ashes of conflict, and nurtured by the promise of peace. Together, we would embrace the dawn of this new era, side by side, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in purpose and spirit. As the first light of dawn began to caress the horizon, casting gentle hues of pink and gold across the sky, I felt the weight of the past lift from my shoulders. The darkness that had once seemed insurmountable was now a distant memory, dissipating in the face of a new day. The warmth of the rising sun kissed the earth, a tender promise of renewal and hope. We stood together, a tapestry of diverse souls woven together by shared dreams and unwavering resolve. Each of us carried scars, reminders of the battles fought and the sacrifices made, but those scars had become symbols of strength rather than reminders of suffering. They spoke of a history that had shaped us, a history we had vowed to learn from, not repeat. The land around us was vibrant with possibility, the air filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming life. It was a world reborn, offering us the chance to craft a legacy of compassion and understanding. In that moment, I realized that the beauty of our journey lay not just in its destination, but in the steps taken along the way, in every choice that had led us to this precipice of promise. I turned to my companions, each face reflecting the light of the new day. Their eyes were bright with determination, their smiles a testament to the bonds we had forged. In silence, we acknowledged the shared commitment that bound us. We had become a family, not by blood, but by the trials we had endured and the dreams we had dared to dream together. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, we began our journey anew, our footsteps echoing with purpose on the path ahead. The future stretched out before us, an unwritten story waiting to be crafted with care and love. And in that quiet, hopeful dawn, we understood that the true victory was not in the battles won, but in the peace we had found within ourselves, a peace that would guide us as we built the world we envisioned. And so, with hearts full of hope and spirits unyielding, we walked forward into the light, ready to embrace the endless possibilities of the new world we had dared to dream into existence. The horizon shimmered with the colors of promise, a canvas painted with the hues of new beginnings. Each step we took felt lighter, as if the burdens we had carried for so long had finally been lifted, replaced by the gentle weight of dreams yet to be realized. The air was filled with the scent of blooming possibilities, and the birds sang a melody of renewal, their song harmonizing with the rhythm of our hearts. We moved as one, a tapestry woven from threads of courage and hope. The road ahead was uncertain, yet it was this uncertainty that breathed life into our ambitions. Every twist and turn was a chance to discover not just the world, but ourselves, anew. The landscapes we traversed mirrored the landscapes within us, ever changing, ever growing. As we journeyed, stories of our past trials became whispers in the wind, lessons etched in our souls. We carried them forward, not as weights, but as guides, illuminating the way toward a future of our own making. The laughter and tears we had shared became the foundation upon which we built our dreams, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And in those golden moments, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with the farewell hues of dusk, we paused to look back at the path we had traveled. Each of us stood stronger, not just for ourselves, but for the world we sought to shape. We knew that while the journey was never truly over, it was in these fleeting moments of reflection that we found the truest essence of our shared adventure. With the night embracing us, we made camp under a blanket of stars, their light a reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. We spoke softly of our hopes and dreams, weaving a tapestry of tomorrows that glinted with the promise of a brighter dawn. And as we drifted into sleep, the world around us whispered its own lullaby, a gentle assurance that we were exactly where we were meant to be. Thus, in the quiet, tender embrace of night, with hearts attuned to the symphony of dreams, we surrendered to the peace of knowing that we were not alone. Together, we had become the architects of our destiny, ready to greet each new day with courage, love, and an unyielding belief in the beauty of what could be. As dawn began to break, a soft glow painted the horizon, gently stirring us from our slumber. The air was crisp and filled with the scent of dew-kissed earth, a fresh beginning wrapped in the embrace of nature. We rose slowly, each movement deliberate and mindful, as if savoring the very act of waking to a new day. The path ahead was uncertain, yet it beckoned with a quiet allure, promising new challenges and unforeseen wonders. We packed our belongings in silence, a reverent acknowledgement of the journey that had brought us here and the one that lay before us. Our eyes met in a silent pact, a shared understanding that whatever came next, we would face it together. As we set off, the sun climbed higher, casting a warm, golden light that danced across the landscape, illuminating the beauty in every shadow and every stone. It was a reminder that light and darkness were but two sides of the same coin, each enhancing the other's beauty, just as our struggles had only heightened our triumphs. With each step, the rhythm of our feet became a song, a melody of hope that resonated with the timeless whispers of the earth beneath us. The world seemed to breathe in unison with us, each inhale a promise, each exhale a release. We were no longer just wanderers on a path, but integral threads in the grand tapestry of existence. And so, hand in hand, heart in heart, we journeyed onward, toward the horizon that shimmered with possibility. The future was a canvas yet to be painted, a story waiting to be told, and we were its eager authors, ready to inscribe our dreams upon the world. In that moment, we understood that the end of one journey was merely the beginning of another, each chapter a testament to the enduring spirit of adventure and the unbreakable bond of friendship. Thus, with the sun at our backs and the world at our feet, we stepped boldly into the morning light, knowing that whatever lay ahead, we would meet it with grace, strength, and an unwavering belief in the beauty of the journey itself. As we continued, the landscape around us transformed, shifting from the familiar to the unknown, each step a brushstroke on the vast canvas of the future. The wind carried with it tales of distant lands, whispering promises of new beginnings and uncharted territories. We listened, our hearts attuned to the stories of the world, our souls eager to explore the infinite possibilities that lay beyond the horizon. The sky painted itself in hues of dawn, a symphony of colors that danced across the heavens, reflecting the myriad emotions within us. We felt a deep connection to the earth beneath our feet, to the sky above, and to each other. Our laughter echoed through the valleys, a testament to the joy of companionship and the shared wonder of discovery. As the path unfolded before us, we knew that every step we took would lead us to places we had never imagined, to dreams we had never dared to dream. The journey was not about the destination, but about the moments that took our breath away, the memories that would linger long after the sun had set on our travels. In the end, it was the simple truth of our existence that resonated most deeply. That life, in all its complexities and uncertainties, was a gift to be cherished. And so, with hearts full of gratitude and eyes wide with wonder, we embraced the endless journey of life, knowing that as long as we walked together, the road would always lead us home. And thus, as the first light of day kissed the horizon, we moved forward, leaving behind the echoes of our past adventures and stepping into a future filled with hope, love, and the promise of new stories waiting to be written. The morning air was crisp and alive with the scent of possibility, carrying with it the whispers of dreams yet to be realized. Each sunrise was a canvas of infinite potential, painting the sky with hues of hope and renewal. As we walked, the path beneath our feet seemed to hum with the energy of all those who had journeyed before us, a reminder that we were part of something greater, a tapestry woven from countless lives and stories. We wandered through forests where the trees stood like ancient sentinels, their leaves rustling softly, sharing secrets with the wind. We crossed rivers that sang songs of time and persistence, their waters carving paths through the earth as we carved our own through life. Every encounter, every fleeting moment, became a thread in the fabric of our shared experience, binding us closer together. In the quiet of the night, under a canopy of stars, we found solace in the knowledge that the universe was vast and mysterious, yet we were never truly alone. The constellations above mirrored the connections we felt below, each star a beacon of light guiding us through the darkness. And so, as the years unfolded, we grew and changed, our paths winding and intertwining like the branches of an ancient tree. The journey was never linear, but it was ours, uniquely and beautifully so. We learned to embrace the uncertainties, to find joy in the unexpected, and to trust that every twist and turn was leading us exactly where we needed to be. As we stood at the edge of a new beginning, the past behind us and the future unfolding like a story yet to be told. We knew that the essence of our journey was eternal. It was in the laughter shared around campfires, the quiet moments of reflection, and the bonds forged through trials and triumphs. With the dawn breaking softly over the horizon, we took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the world around us. The journey was not ending, but evolving, as it always had and always would. And as we stepped forward, hand in hand, we carried with us the certainty that the road ahead, though unknown, was filled with endless possibilities and the promise of new beginnings.